You've just spent 20 minutes scrolling through your phone, promising yourself you'd start that important project. Again, your brain has built a highway for distractions and a dirt path for focus. But here's what neuroscience reveals. The same mechanism that makes bad habits stick can be rewired to make positive habits permanent. The difference between people who succeed and those who struggle isn't willpower. It's understanding how to architect habits at the neural level. And in the next few minutes, you'll discover the exact scientific process that transforms temporary actions into automatic behaviors that last a lifetime. Before we dive deeper into rewiring your brain, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss strategies that can upgrade your mental performance. And if you find value in what you're learning today, leave a like to help others discover this information. Think about the last habit you tried to build. Maybe it was exercising every morning, reading before bed, or learning a new skill. You started strong, motivated by the promise of change. But within weeks, maybe days, the enthusiasm faded. You returned to old patterns, wondering what went wrong. This isn't a character flaw. It's neuroscience. Your brain operates on efficiency, not ambition. Every thought, every action carves pathways through neural tissue. The more you repeat something, the deeper that pathway becomes. Right now, your brain has superhighways for behaviors you've repeated thousands of times. Checking your phone, reaching for comfort foods, procrastinating on difficult tasks. These aren't choices anymore. They're automatic programs running in the background of your consciousness. The human brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons, each capable of forming thousands of connections. When you perform an action repeatedly, these neurons fire together in specific sequences. Neuroscientist Donald Hebb discovered a fundamental principle. Neurons that fire together, wire together. This means every time you repeat a behavior, you strengthen the neural pathway associated with it. After enough repetitions, that pathway becomes so efficient that the behavior requires almost no conscious effort. This is why you can drive home without remembering the journey or brush your teeth while thinking about completely unrelated topics. Your brain has automated these sequences to free up mental resources for other tasks. But here's the challenge. This same mechanism works against you when building new habits. The neural pathways for new behaviors are weak, requiring significant conscious effort and energy to activate. Meanwhile, old habit pathways remain strong, pulling you back toward familiar patterns. Your intention to change is fighting against years of neural reinforcement. Willpower alone cannot overcome this biological reality. You need a different approach, one that works with your brain's architecture rather than against it. Jim Quick, a renowned brain coach, emphasizes that learning how to learn is the ultimate superpower. He often says that if knowledge is power, then learning is a superpower. The same principle applies to habits. If behavior is destiny, then learning to build habits at the neural level is your ultimate advantage. The question isn't whether your brain can change. It absolutely can through neuroplasticity. The question is whether you're using the right methods to direct that change. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. For decades, scientists believed adult brains were fixed. Research now proves otherwise. Your brain remains adaptable until your final days. Every new experience, skill, or habit creates physical changes in neural structure. Brain scans show measurable differences in people who learn instruments, practice meditation, or acquire languages. The hippocampus grows in London taxi drivers who memorize city routes. The prefrontal cortex strengthens in people who practice focused attention. Your brain physically transforms based on what you practice. This means your current habits are not permanent sentences. They're simply the result of past repetition. And what repetition created, new repetition can reshape. But timing matters. Neuroscience reveals specific windows when habit formation becomes significantly easier. The first critical window is the moment immediately after completing a behavior. Your brain releases neurochemicals that mark recently fired neural pathways. Dopamine acts as a highlighter, telling your brain which connections to strengthen. When you feel good after an action, dopamine floods the pathways involved, telling your brain to remember this sequence. This is why habits linked to immediate reward, scrolling social media, eating sugar, watching entertainment, becomes so powerful so quickly. The reward arrives within seconds, creating strong neural associations. The key to building lasting positive habits is manufacturing this immediate reward signal. You cannot wait for long-term benefits like better health or career success to motivate your brain. Those outcomes are too distant to influence neural wiring. You need to create positive feelings immediately after completing the desired behavior. This could be a mental acknowledgement, a physical gesture of success, or pairing the behavior with something enjoyable. When you finish a workout, you might play your favorite song. When you complete a focused work session, you might enjoy a specific tea you love. These immediate positive associations accelerate habit formation by giving your brain the dopamine signal it needs. But there's another element that dramatically impacts how quickly habits solidify. Consistency beats intensity every time. Your brain doesn't distinguish between small and large versions of the same behavior. Reading one page activates similar neural pathways as reading an entire chapter. The critical factor is frequency, not duration. Research found that habit formation takes an average of 66 days, but ranges from 18 to 254 days depending on complexity and consistency. Participants who performed their chosen behavior daily, even minimally, developed automaticity much faster than those who attempted larger but less frequent actions. This is where most people sabotage themselves. They set ambitious targets that feel impressive but are difficult to maintain. Running 5 miles daily sounds transformative, but if you skip days, you interrupt the neural reinforcement process. Your brain never gets the consistent signal it needs. Instead, tiny consistent actions create compound effects. Running for just 5 minutes every single day builds the neural pathway for the identity of someone who runs. Once that pathway strengthens, expanding duration becomes natural because the automation is already in place. James Clear describes this as the aggregation of marginal gains. Small improvements don't seem meaningful on any given day, but over months and years, they compound into remarkable results. From a neuroscience perspective, they allow your brain to build strong pathways without overwhelming your willpower reserves. When a behavior is small enough, resistance disappears. You don't need motivation to do something that takes 2 minutes. And once you start, continuation becomes easier because task initiation, not completion, is the highest barrier. Environment design is another powerful tool for habit architecture. Your surroundings constantly send signals to your brain about which behaviors to activate. Every object, spatial arrangement, and sensory cue primes specific neural pathways. When you walk into your kitchen and see cookies on the counter, the visual cue triggers the eating pathway before conscious thought occurs. These environmental triggers are so powerful that changing them often produces more results than trying to change through willpower alone. Research on implementation intentions shows that when people specify exactly when and where they will perform a new behavior, follow-through rates increase by 200 to 300%. This works because you're creating a clear environmental trigger for the desired habit. Instead of a vague intention like "I'll exercise more," you decide, "When I wake up and see my running shoes by the door, I will put them on and run." The environmental cue becomes neurologically linked to the behavior. After enough repetitions, seeing the shoes automatically activates the running pathway without requiring decision-making energy. You can intentionally design your environment to make desired behaviors obvious and undesired behaviors invisible. If you want to read more, place books in every room where you typically waste time. If you want to eat healthier, organize your kitchen so nutritious foods occupy the most visible and accessible locations. If you want to focus better, remove your phone from your workspace entirely. These are strategic interventions that change which neural pathways your environment activates throughout the day. Another neurological insight that transforms habit building is understanding the role of identity. Your brain maintains a self-concept, a collection of beliefs about who you are. When a desired habit conflicts with your identity, internal resistance emerges. If you see yourself as someone who isn't athletic, exercising will always feel like forcing behavior that doesn't match who you are. But when you shift identity first, behavior follows naturally. Every action you take casts a vote for the type of person you're becoming. When you write a single paragraph, you're voting for the identity of writer. When you put one healthy meal on your plate, you're voting for the identity of someone who values nutrition. These votes accumulate. With enough votes, the identity shifts, and once your identity changes, behavior becomes automatic because it's simply what people like you do. This is why starting small is so powerful. Small actions allow you to accumulate identity votes without the intimidation of major lifestyle overhauls. You don't need to become a marathon runner immediately. You need to become someone who doesn't miss workouts. Identity transformation happens through accumulated evidence, and small, consistent actions provide that evidence faster than sporadic, ambitious efforts. Habit stacking leverages existing neural pathways to build new ones. Since your brain already has strong pathways for behaviors you do automatically every day, you can attach new behaviors to these existing routines. The formula is simple. After I do current habit, I will do new habit. After I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 2 minutes. After I sit down for dinner, I will share one thing I'm grateful for. This works because you're piggybacking on neural activation that's already happening automatically. When the existing habit fires, it creates momentum that carries into the new behavior. Over time, the two become linked in your brain's circuitry, and the new habit begins to feel as automatic as the original one. But what happens when you face obstacles? Life disrupts routines. Travel, illness, unexpected demands inevitably interrupt consistency. Research reveals that missing one occurrence doesn't significantly impact long-term automaticity, but missing twice begins weakening the neural pathway. The key is getting back on track immediately. If you miss a day, make the next day non-negotiable. This is where the 2-minute rule becomes invaluable. On difficult days when full execution seems impossible, commit to just 2 minutes of the behavior. Read 1 page. Do 1 push-up. Write 1 sentence. These minimal versions keep the neural pathway active even when circumstances prevent full engagement. Understanding the neuroscience of stress and habit formation is equally crucial. When you're stressed, your brain shifts into survival mode, relying more heavily on established pathways and less on conscious decision-making. This is why stress causes people to revert to old habits. The prefrontal cortex becomes less active under stress, while the basal ganglia, which stores automatic behaviors, takes over. The solution is building your desired habits during calm periods so they become the automatic programs your brain defaults to under stress. If healthy habits are already wired deeply enough, stress will actually increase your adherence because your brain will reach for established patterns. Sleep plays a massive role in habit consolidation. During deep sleep, your brain replays and strengthens neural patterns from the day. Studies show that neurons fire in the same sequences during sleep that fired during waking learning. This replay process is essential for converting short-term memory and new behaviors into long-term automatic patterns. When you shortchange sleep, you interrupt this consolidation process. This means that prioritizing quality sleep isn't just about energy. It's about giving your brain the time it needs to make your new habits permanent. People who consistently get adequate sleep show faster skill acquisition and stronger habit formation than those who sacrifice sleep for more practice time. There's one more critical factor: understanding that motivation follows action, not the other way around. Most people wait to feel motivated before starting. Neuroscience reveals this is backwards. Motivation is often a result of action, not a prerequisite. When you start a behavior, even without enthusiasm, the act of starting activates neural reward systems. Dopamine begins flowing. Your mood improves. Motivation appears after you begin, not before. This is why the most successful habit builders don't rely on feeling like it. They rely on systems that remove decision-making from the equation. The behavior happens at a predetermined time, in a predetermined place, following a predetermined cue. Feelings become irrelevant. Your brain is not working against you. It's an adaptation machine, constantly molding itself to match your repeated behaviors. Every action is either strengthening the person you want to become or reinforcing the person you're trying to move away from. The habits you practice today are literally shaping the physical structure of your brain, determining who you'll be tomorrow, next month, and years from now. The science is clear. Small, consistent actions, performed in the same context, attached to existing routines, linked to immediate positive feelings, protected fiercely when disrupted, and supported by adequate sleep. These are the ingredients for building neural pathways that become permanent. You're not fighting your brain, you're programming it. And the most beautiful part is that the same mechanisms that created your current automatic behaviors can create entirely new ones. If this resonated with you, subscribe to stay connected with more content that helps you understand and optimize how your brain works. Hit that like button to support the channel. The person you're capable of becoming isn't determined by who you've been. It's determined by the neural pathways you choose to strengthen starting right now.